Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for joining us on a Saturday night. I'm kind of filling in some big shoes tonight. This is normally led by Sanjay, but in a moment I'll say hi to the chat. But first, I want to welcome my guests, Keith and my brother Darren. Keith, man, how's your weekend going?
Weekend's good. Going over to the Super Bowl party tomorrow. Today I was doing stuff for my taxes, so
Oh, yeah.
nothing too exciting. But how about you?
Yeah, weekend's been good so far. Just did a quick hike.
You and that hiking.
Yeah,
Can't get enough.
but
That's good.
and Darren accompanied me too. So, Darren, let's just check in. How are you doing? You with us, bro?
Sorry. Yeah, a bit of a delay there. Apologies. Yeah, really good weekend so far. Obviously, hiking with you, taking the dog out before that, and trying to put some studs in my tires for the bike. So I'll probably take it out tomorrow. That's the plan. We'll see.
Awesome. All right, before we dive into the chat, maybe we'll do a quick wristwatch check. Sorry, Keith, I forgot to ask what you were wearing tonight. So, what are you rocking today?
It's not exciting, so I'm warning you now. Casio
Oh, nice.
F91W. Full disclosure, I've actually been wearing this basically as my only watch for like the last 3 weeks.
Really?
During the last like 2 years, I had to really force myself to wear watches at home. That wasn't this watch. I feel it's always more fun wearing watches out and about. But now, like, I'm back to working from home full time, and it's winter, which I hate winter. So I've just been wearing this, and except for maybe the one day a week I go out and see people, I'll throw something else on. But it's working out.
Yeah, and that's such a nice, comfortable wearing watch too, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Awesome.
doesn't get more comfortable than
How
this.
about you, bro? What's on your wrist tonight?
Not surprisingly, I guess the Borealis Cascaeus, but it's on the blue brand Seiko strap, which I basically got after you instead of the bracelet. So it's really comfy, actually. I like it on that. So it's pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks good on that strap.
Is it
Thanks.
the
Matches
one
the indices.
the hands and the indices are blue, right? They kind of shine. Are they
They
blued
are.
or are they painted blue or
That I couldn't get information on.
oh, okay.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure. It's it does catch the light really well with the blue and
Yeah, I
white
bet.
Yeah,
and
let
stuff.
me hold on.
Kind of
Let me.
And you got the textured
It could be
bezel.
chemically blued, but honestly, I did some macro video on it when I reviewed it, and it looks like it could be thermally blued. But although I don't know at the price point that they would do that for all the indices as well. But if anyone else in the chat knows, that'd be awesome. So maybe before I do my wrist check, let's just see who's here. Dan's first on the list. Thanks for joining. We got Chaz from the Berg. Hey, man. I want to get Chaz on this stream. I don't think I've done a live stream with Chaz. I've seen him on like Watch Soup and stuff, but I always miss him. So
Chaz, you should join.
yeah.
yeah, Chaz, get on here, man.
Hey, Sanjay's
Yeah.
here. So just dropping in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could go out. You could drop in, Sanjay, and I hope you get some rest and come back strong for next week. Yeah, Chaz said the same thing. Yeah, and Chaz, honestly, feel free to join anytime you want. Keith,
Hello.
nice to see you in
Nice
the
to see
chat.
you.
Yeah. Hey, Bill's here. Awesome. And Neff, awesome. Okay, he found the link. Perfect. Glad you could join us. I did not hear about this, but are we going to arm wrestle, Keith?
I mean, I'd lose in about 5 seconds, I'm sure. Not even.
I don't know. So it's not about strength sometimes; it's about like skill. So
Body
I
dynamics.
was-
Yeah.
I'm a
you got that
scrawny
slender
man.
wrist. Yeah. All right. Oil Money's here. Awesome. Thanks for joining. What's his name? Oh, Bobby joined. Glad you can make it, Bobby. And is Bobby doing Watch Soup tomorrow, or is Sanjay taking that on?
I have not heard. I don't think Sanjay's doing it. I'm be curious to see if
Okay,
Bobby is.
so yeah, nice. Neff mentioned he was doing his taxes today too. You guys got an early start on that. That's good. Good for you guys.
Yeah, I don't know how it works in Canada, but taxes are a headache here. And I actually got really frustrated this year, so I asked someone else to do my taxes for me. But that's okay.
Yeah, I mean taxes are a pain in Canada as well. At least.
Yeah, we also have someone here doing our taxes as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
for
I know.
those who,
Surprise, eh?
yeah, I mean I like to get you on the stream more often, Darren. I mean, we can do our own stream, I guess, later on too, but we got Caliber YQG, awesome. Oh, Mez9's here too. Thanks for joining, guys. We got a lot of people. Thanks. I feel like, again, I'm a little intimidated because I know Sanjay draws a crowd, but not me typically, right? All right, maybe I'll just quickly do my wrist check because I think this is a topic I just want to quickly discuss. And so today on the wrist is my latest acquisition. This is, well, I can maybe go full screen on this. The Traska Freediver. It's in the minty green version here. And it was kind of interesting and a bit of an ordeal to actually get this watch because Traska, I mean, I've ordered watches from them in the past. In fact, when they first started out, they had a version 1 of this Freediver, I believe, that had the Seiko NH35 movement. They've kind of updated it now to a Miyota 9 series, which is great. I really like it. The first watch I ordered from them was actually off of Kickstarter, and that was right before the pandemic hit. So we were all kind of freaking out because the first time I ordered from Traska, everyone put in their orders, and then like China shut down, and like they full disclosure, they manufacture in China and they're good about it. But when they receive everything, the owner John, I think he's in Florida, I believe, in the States, he'll actually go through and like check everything himself. Like, so very good QC and everything. But he kept on having to send update emails through Kickstarter because there was a huge delay in getting the watches. So I think the watches were actually delayed by about 5 months. When I ordered the Summiteer, it finally arrived. To get this specific watch, now you can get them straight from the Traska website. You had to put in a $50 kind of deposit if you wanted to guarantee yourself to get this watch early in the new year. But originally, I wasn't too sure if I was going to buy the Freediver. They also have a new version called the Commuter, which is more of like a field watch. So I originally put down money to get the Commuter, and then I changed my mind after about getting the Freediver. So that was a bit of a hassle. But the biggest disappointment I had, and this has nothing to do with Traska, but I got hit really hard with import duties for the first time from FedEx. Like it was over 150 Canadian dollars for a watch that's $600 US. So something to me didn't add up. I know they have really high brokerage fees, I guess, for a watch over a certain amount. I wasn't expecting it. So long story short, if you factor in the conversion like from US to Canadian dollars, like 600 US is closer to 800 Canadian, and then you're getting over $150 in taxes. So the watch ended up being close to about $1,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but all that being said, I kind of think it's worth it. I just like what Traska's putting out in terms of the package for this watch. It's got their super hard coating on it, so it's like really scratch resistant. And I just really like the design aspects of it. But I've only had it for a day. And I think Darren tried it on too, right? I mean, some of my Instagram shots from today were your wrist actually. So maybe Darren, you can weigh in on what your thoughts are, and I don't know what you think, Keith, too, in terms of Traska as a micro brand, and is it still a good watch, getting close to $1,000?
Yeah, for sure. To be honest, as far as a value proposition for money, like maybe I'm not the best person to evaluate that. I still think it's a really nice package. What was cool is in natural lighting, the dial really pops, and it's not. We were talking. It's not like a sunburst dial. It's a really nice pastel looking kind of green. So it plays really well with natural light, and the indices they're pretty well applied. Like they're pretty tall, right? So they catch the light really well. And the bezel action was actually really nice. So overall, really like it. And I think the bracelet is another bonus too. It's got a nice taper, and you're right about the I guess the scratch resistant coating. So I could say like it's a great everyday, no pun intended, everyday watch, I guess. Uh, but as far as a value proposition, like I think you're still getting a pretty good package if you could maybe I don't know what it's like getting it on the aftermarket. I don't know if they're like Halios or anything if they get pricey, but it's got a good movement and it seems like it's pretty reliable. So maybe it's not the best deal going full retail, but I still thought I was really impressed with it.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I hope more brands start to use that scratch resistant coating. I know like Seiko has their own version of it, but I don't think it. I don't know this for sure, but I imagine the Traska scratch resistance is better. But I didn't realize.
I think it
So,
is.
are they like popular right now, where you can't just go on the website and buy one? You have to pre-order.
Well, in this case, I think they basically encourage you to pre-order, put down the $50 to reserve to ensure that you get. This is kind of um, a restock of the Freediver, although it has been updated to my knowledge because the older ones had the older Seiko movement, like the NH35, and this is like a 4 hertz Miyota no date movement, and the hands are slightly different too. But once people who have pre-ordered it, if there's any left, then you can still order it straight from their website. It's just you weren't guaranteed to get it before,
Okay.
is my understanding.
How do you feel about the dial color? Because I know it's a popular dial color, at least Tiffany blue. That's a little more minty. Um,
Yeah, it's supposed to be like mint green is.
are you getting? Some people are getting burnt out on that color. I really like it. I'm currently obsessed with the Doxa
Oh, nice. What,
blue.
aquamarine?
Yeah, the aquamarine. So I'm a little worried that if you buy a watch like that, maybe in like 5 years, it might look outdated just because it's so in right now.
Yeah.
But I imagine I'll always like the color. Do you ever feel like you're getting burnt out on that color because everyone seems to be using it now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like it if it was a one watch collection for me, I might, but because I have a good rotation, this adds a bit of differentiation. Like I like like the different dial color because a lot of my dials are black or white or blue. So, and I
Right.
should also say like I like the color scheme because they also have like a black ceramic. I think it's a ceramic bezel, so it's very legible. And then you got the white indices. So I don't know. I think it balances colors well, and because it's not overly assertive, like it's not a sunburst or highly reflective color,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit more subdued. So I kind of like this color option, and I think it fits well in a decent rotation. Like that way, I think you can still switch it out if you need to.
So because you had to pay the import duties and you had to pay more for this watch than maybe people typically would, does that mean you're more likely to hold on to it because you might take more of a loss of selling it? Or does
Yeah,
that not factor into that decision for you?
I would like to think it wouldn't, but subjectively, I kind of feel that already. Like you mentioned, I already thought to myself, anecdotally, because I got hit with high import duties, like I'm probably going to take a bit of a bath if I choose to flip it, like you said. And that isn't the number one consideration, but I definitely did mull that over. I do
Well-
like the proportions of the watch quite well. I mean, it's just over 40 millimeters in diameter. I think it's only 12 thick, and it's really comfortable. The bracelet is great. So I don't see myself moving it anytime soon, but typically also when I review a watch, I get a lot more information about it too. Like, I don't know, because I kind of do a lot of macro photography.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see.
I will say a couple comments come to mind based on what Keith just mentioned, and that is, at least for your photography, Tuan, I think it fits well in your style because it works with earthy tones, and like 90% of your photos are outside. So I think that dial color works out well for that. And secondly, like there was a video Teddy did with one of the ones he always does with Mr. Wonderful, whoever that guy is, Kevin O'Leary, right?
Kevin O'Leary,
and he was showing, he was showing the micro brands, and Traska was one of them. And I think he had as an example like a Rolex Oyster link or whatever, and he invited Kevin to scratch it up, and then they tried the same thing on the Traska bracelet, right? And it was pretty impressive, you know what I mean, in terms of resistance, like the wear resistance on that, on the Vickers on it. So that is kind of cool. Like I think that does. It's one of their like hallmark things from Traska, and I think it is worth a bit more of a premium, albeit like from a micro brand, so it's not going to be too much. But if it's any consolation, I think it's still a good pickup, even at that price.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just based on my observation, and I could be wrong, that we know Torn is really. I mean, Sanjay gets a lot of flack for being a flipper, but you flip just as much as he does, if not more. And it seems like micro brands don't stay in your collection as long. But I'll be curious to see, and maybe, hopefully, you really like it and you keep it for a while. But I'm curious to see your thoughts on it over time.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair observation. Hopefully it stays in the collection for a while. And on that note, too, guys in the chat, let us know what you're wearing tonight. I got to do a better job monitoring this. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Chaz is digging the Casio, which is awesome. I got to skip down a little bit here. Oh, and Chaz has got the SPGA 211 in honor of Sanjay and me. Thank you.
Oh,
that's an excellent watch. Yeah, I love that watch. Neff says, I remember Watch Gringo bringing that up, and I just about fell off my chair laughing. What comment was that?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Keep wearing your fish watch. Well, that's one way of putting it.
It's not my fault they also used it.
Ken Spear, thanks for checking in from Pittsburgh. Awesome. Neff's doing the Aquas. Will be for a while. His his Black Bay is on loan. Aquas is an awesome watch.
What size Aquas now? Just curious.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know that too. I find most people can pull off the 43 millimeter. But
which one do you have, Keith, again? Do you have the 43?
I think you sold it.
Yeah, I did sell it, but it was the 39 and a half, which was pretty small even for me, who I have a small wrist. If I could, I like the color of the one I got, which is why I got that size, but I would probably get the 41 and a half if I were to get another Aquas.
I'm with you.
All right. I'm just sorry, a little behind in the comments. Yeah, speaking of green watches, maybe this is a good segue here. Yeah. Thoughts on the new Seiko Green Birch, or the Grand Seiko Green Birch? I don't know. Have you guys seen that? I've just seen some press photos for it. And
I've seen the press photos.
I kind of thought initially.
Can you bring some up? I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, yeah. Let me hold on, see if I can find it. But it almost seems like Grand Seiko is going quick to market, almost like oversaturating with the amount of white birch-esque releases. Let's see if I can do this.
I was musing with Torin on our hike that we passed by some yellowbirds. I thought that would be a good iteration, like more natural. But
Well, at the rate they're going, that'll be any day now. They'll come out with that.
no
so.
kidding. Yeah.
Well, from what I could tell in these pictures, they're saying it's green, but to me it looks blue-green. And I'm a sucker for a blue-green dial, which is why I bought the Aquas that I had. So if it looks in real life like it looks in these pictures, this would probably be my favorite out of these, white birch and the like Sua was another one.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see, more videos and more pictures of this one.
Yeah, to me, I think, the colorway would kind of work really well, but yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what the subtle differences are. I think, at least for like the difference between the white birch and the spring drive successor, like I did see some noticeable difference in terms of like they tend to cap the top post where the seconds hand is here, so you don't see it as much. The texture in terms of how detailed the texture was more subtle in the spring drive model, but because this is the high beat one, I think it's going to be a similar texture. Though I think they said in the press release that the way they do the indices, it's the same looking indices, but instead of having like high polish on all of it, they're going to do some like crosshatch brushing across it too to help keep the light. I don't know if you guys read up on that at all, but
I did not.
I think it's supposed to come in September.
Yeah, I think September 1st, I want to say.
Yeah. Just Kevin S says that's coming soon. Green birch is kind of similar to a peacock color. Yeah. Chaz is holding out for the Tiffany birch. Can you imagine? Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about the amount of releases Grand Seiko has had recently? Because, on the one hand, it just gives you more choice, which is a good thing. On the other hand, it kind of makes each release less special. So I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's a good point, because for me, picking up the white birch and then the successor to the white birch with the spring drive iteration kind of made me feel, I don't know, like it did make me feel like it diminished the value of the white birch a little bit, to be honest. And I feel like a lot of people would actually go towards the spring drive version because they feel like that's the true successor to a snowflake, because they share spring drive and the dial texture is a little bit more subtle. So personally, yeah, I feel like Grand Seiko, with the amount of releases they have, it's almost kind of like diluting how special the white birch really was. Because let's not forget, last year it was the winner for the Grand Prix of Horology in Geneva, right? I think it was like one of the top winners. And then even with the release of the Lake Sua, like that came out at the end of last year, like in December, right? So now, granted, Lake Sua, kind of different because totally different texture, different color, and everything. But I don't know. I think it's nice for people who are kind of on the fence, like they had some reservations about the white birch. Like some people don't like how silvery white the dial is, or a lot of people actually remarked that they didn't like the stated accuracy of it. I've heard like people wanting to send in their white birches to get serviced because the 9S85 movement wasn't running in spec. And I believe that was Sanjay's experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I feel like maybe I lucked out a little bit because it's usually running 5 or 6 seconds fast for me, which is all right. But I don't know. Darren, what do you think, man? all the Grand Seiko releases this year.
Yeah, I don't know if there's enough differentiation like to really, I guess, add as much value as it's almost like to me it goes back to like the rarity of those releases when the White Birch first came out with that textured dial. Like it was such a hit and pretty unique, right? And now that they're kind of capitalizing and going on more, it kind of every iteration makes it less. I don't know if rare is the right word, but to me, then it kind of like dilutes the market. Although I do showing you did when you show the picture, actually the color actually looks great. But yeah, I could see it maybe taking away from the I guess like the exclusivity of it, and that. But some people don't care about that, right? Some people just want it because it's a great watch, and I'd be more inclined to just get it because I like it. But some people with a collection, they might want a more exclusive experience.
Yeah.
How do you feel about these comments you're saying, Torin?
I mean, I can't deny some of it. Like,
yeah,
you do feel like you have to justify it as a White Birch owner, right? Like, I mean, you're dropping that kind of money, and it really showcases their new 9SA5 movement. Like that movement is gorgeous. It's way better looking than the new spring drive, the 9SA2. Although that's a great movement too. Like I like the updates they did for that spring drive movement, but yeah, it kind of makes you feel like you have to justify owning the White Birch because, like, it's almost like some people are like they never like for cars, right? Like you never want to buy a car when it first comes out because like you don't know what the issues are potentially. And when Grand Seiko does something like this, it kind of feels that way. But what if I can just defend myself too? What really solidified me liking the White Birch and how I knew I liked it is I contemplated selling it and I did list to sell it, and then I kind of regretted it. And then because to me it was a little bit disruptive having both the White Birch and the Lake Sua in the collection at the same time. I thought it's a little bit redundant considering they both have the 9S case and bracelet. But they are different enough. And once I put the White Birch on straps, that's when I knew it was a keeper. It just wears so well on straps. And the straps really add a lot of visual contrast to the dial texture. So as opposed to like the bracelet.
mm-hmm.
I'm glad you have both and are keeping it personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's another interesting strategy too, right? Like they do a bunch of new releases and they discontinue, and then they're hoping. I think like Grand Seiko is really trying to actually get into the Swiss type of marketing in terms of like having discontinued models go up in value. Like I've heard, I don't know, Keith, maybe you've heard this too because you're an owner of the SBGN 003, and I've heard rumors that that's going to be discontinued soon.
Yeah, I've heard that for a while. I know someone who just bought one from an AD, so they're still out there.
Yeah, me too.
And it seems like there's a lot of like if you go on Chrono 24, there's a lot of that model being sold. So I think there's a lot in circulation. But so I don't think the discontinuing of that model specifically is going to help the value at all. But yeah, I don't know what's happening. Like, are they just adding more and more models, or are they every time they release one, are they discontinuing one? I don't really know. Like, are they still making the automatic White Birch? What even though they're coming out with the spring drive one, or
I'm pretty sure they are.
Oh, so they're gonna make both. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, they just released a White Birch.
I know.
What?
Well,
Marshall last year, not going to discontinue it. I mean,
yeah.
Like I would think, right? I think they are because actually, like what I've heard is in boutiques, like in authorized dealers, the White Birch is actually hard to get right now because it's sold very well, like pretty rapidly. So they do plan to restock it. A lot of people, I think, are now going to the gray market to get a White Birch if that's what they want. But I do think that they will continue to implement it in their catalog.
Well, I still remember when you bought yours, like how competitive, like within minutes, somebody else was in the door trying to pick it up. and you just sniped it out of their hands.
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad about that. As soon as after I purchased it, it was still still in my hand, and we were at the Grand Seiko portion of the authorized dealer, and another associate walks over and he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna grab this white birch for another customer." And I'm like, "No, you're not. Sorry, I just bought it." So yeah, I felt bad, but sorry, not sorry. Although, I mean, to Ness' point, yeah, I think it does seem like with the amount of releases that they're doing, it really seems like they're really just trying to drive up sales. And I don't know. I do feel like there is this trend for Grand Seiko to, try and discontinue models so they can increase the value. Like, for a good example of this is the current iteration of the 9F GMT, right? Like, it's slightly larger than what we have, right, Keith? I think it's like a 40 millimeter version.
Yeah,
And I don't have
45 millimeter.
Sanjay's amazing memory that just can
You're talking about like the green one, the
recite.
green and
Yeah,
blue. Yeah,
yeah. I can't
40 and a
justify,
half.
and I don't know how they can justify the price in Canadian dollars is around $5,000 for those current GMT 9F quartz movements. It's the 9F86. It's the exact same movement in both of our watches.
Not the new green one. I think that's like a mechanical automatic one.
Well, I'm talking like at least the current 9F ones from Grand Seiko. I'm just saying, like, they
Okay.
increased the price by over $1,000. It's the same.
Okay. See, they have so many releases, I can't even keep them straight.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Grand Seiko's only wanting to create more art through watches, and that is perfect.
Now, are you considering Grand Seiko your favorite brand?
That's a tough question. Like, historically, they weren't, but more recently, and I feel like the influence from the Saturday Night Watch chat has really helped with that. I would say it gives me the most enjoyment. That's the answer I would say.
Okay.
Like when I wear my Grand Seikos, I get a ton more of enjoyment out of it than wearing like other pieces, like even my Rolex Explorer, like the white birch and the Lake Sua, like a lot more satisfying to wear right now than anything else in my collection. But I don't know if I would say they're my favorite brand. I mean, I cut my teeth on just Seiko in general,
True,
and there's a
yeah.
lot to offer there. But I mean, if it's not, it's definitely like it's up there, top 3 for sure.
Okay, this is way too woke. So Adele.
We got Darren's wife in the background there. Yeah, Chaz is saying I wouldn't like these new white birch models if I had bought the original. I mean, to me, I do disdain them a little, just because again it dilutes, the kind of je ne sais quoi of owning the original white birch.
Right.
I'm also a little bit better about the white birch because of Sanjay breaking the Birch Brotherhood, but that's another story.
Well, I see Kevin S keeps bringing that up in the chat.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to know. He flips watches all the time. You had to know it was going to happen.
I know.
Maybe not
I just
that
thought
fast.
it wouldn't be so soon.
Yeah.
What about you, Keith? What's your favorite brand right now?
I was just thinking that. I don't have an answer. That's a good question. I feel like I don't have the experience of owning a bunch of watches from various brands like Torin has, so it's hard to say for sure.
Fair.
But yet, I don't know. I tend to like 1 or 2 releases from each brand. Like each brand, like the Aquis for Oris or, whatever the case is, and the various brands is usually like one watch I'm really drawn to. So there's not a ton of brands where I like a bunch of models. What about you?
Yeah, that's a good one. Similar story, I guess. I kind of live vicariously through going to the ATs with Torin.
Yeah.
I'd say like for a general, like the one I've been most impressed with just in general, like I really like some, and Torin got me into the micro brands. Actually, Halios I think is still up there with me, and he had the Fairwind, which I got to borrow for a little bit. I really like the C4. I guess maybe I'm biased towards the Canadian slant of things, but I'd say right now it's still my favorite.
Okay. Yeah. I would love to see one in person one day. They just announced that they're having the wind up watch fairs this year. They're going to
Oh,
San
awesome.
Francisco, Chicago, and New York. So I will be there in Chicago.
Oh, that's cool.
So I don't know if Helios usually goes to that.
I feel like they might because it caters to their
Yeah.
to that. Yeah.
I feel like they might as well. So I hope they're going to be there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that in general. I told myself.
Yeah, I hope you get to see him.
Yeah. So I told myself this year. Well, I tell myself this every year, I guess, but I'm really focusing on trying to buy one watch this year. Could be two, but really I'm just making a list of watches that might be in the running, and I'm telling myself I can't buy one at least until wind up, so I could see a bunch of watches I've never seen in person to
Mhm.
make my decision for this year, which is all the way in July, so that's a while away. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, I'm making my list, and I'm looking forward to see. Hopefully, I could get like I want to go on a Friday, so it's not like super crowded, and I could take time at each booth. But they've never had it at Chicago before, so I don't know what to expect.
That sounds exciting, and I like your approach too. If you can kind of hash out some good time with, like, at each of the vendors, and then get a good feel for anything you might want to pick up.
Yeah, my wife says she's interested in going as well, which, like, I don't know if she knows. Like, I'm going to be looking at each booth for a long time, which I'm sure she's fine with, but she might get bored. But I was watching a YouTube channel, the Casual Watch Reviews. I don't know the official name. It's like Casual Watch Talk is the podcast, I think. But he's doing the exact Sam on there is doing the same exact thing where he's buying one watch this year. He has a list. We actually have like some similar watches on each of our lists. For example, Doxa.
Mhm.
We'll see how it goes. I want to really visit some ADs and keeping my mind open to. And I'm curious to see what's going to be released this year too, to see if anything else will be in the running.
That's awesome. It would be kind of cool. I mean, maybe if the borders open up, maybe I can make an appearance too.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Chicago's
awesome.
not too
Yeah, that'd be
far
awesome.
from London. Well,
I think
Road trip.
I think it's like 6 hours or something.
yeah, it's not terrible.
That's nothing driving in Ontario. Like,
That's true.
Yeah, we'll have some deep dish pizza.
sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
you can give us the rundown on Chicago lifestyle.
Yeah. Although technically I only make it out to the city like once a year.
Yeah, right. That's fair.
We'll need Brandon to show us around.
Okay. Yeah, that's one thing I'm looking forward to. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's probably more open in the States than it is in Ontario right now. We're still kind of have some restrictions, and they're kind of blocking the borders with this whole freedom trucker movement. So
yeah, we don't
we'll
have
see what
much
happens.
restrictions right now. It sounds like Illinois is dropping their mask mandate this month, which many other states are. So seems like it's going to be a free for all here pretty soon. So I haven't been in a crowded space in 2 years, so I don't know how I'm going to feel being there. Hopefully I'm fine with it. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Diving back into the chat, saying Kevin mentions white birches, hard to get these days. It is. I mean, in authorized dealers, they typically don't have a lot in stock. They are restocking them, but I have seen some show up on the gray market. And it's interesting. I don't know. I thought their value might go up, but I think they're selling at retail or slightly below, has been what I've been seeing. So that's interesting. Dick mentions regular Seiko needs to make a baby like Suha. It wouldn't surprise me
Good
if they do
point.
something like that in the future, and maybe they'll probably use like the 6R35 movement instead of like a spring drive. But it's amazing like just regular Seiko can do with dials. I mean, they've got the baby snowflake already, and that thing looks amazing.
Yeah. I really still like the 213. Too bad Sensei sold it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of these comments about Sanjay's backstabbing nature. Well, he's not on the stream tonight, guys, so let him have it.
I think the worst offense is that he didn't help you negotiate the last time you were there.
Yeah. I think
Like
he
the
doesn't want to show me
giant,
all the tricks of the trade yet because, he still wants. The last time we were both at his authorized dealer, we were both kind of zeroing in on the Seiko SLA055, his current dive watch, like the one with the ever brilliant steel. That's like over $5,000 retail.
Mhm.
But me being a gentleman and like Canadian, like I gave him first dibs on it, and it was funny because, in terms of how he negotiated, like I kind of did a deal first. That's when I picked up my Tudor Black Bay GMT, and like he didn't help me negotiate with that at all because he was mulling over what his angle was going to be to get this Seiko diver, and then. Did I go to the washroom? Darren was there too. I don't know if I went to the washroom or Darren
Yeah,
went to the washroom. And like by the time we
I went
both
to
got
the
back,
yeah.
or I
It
think
was
I went to the
done.
car to grab like some boxes because I traded up for the Tudor. By the time I came back from the car and Darren came back from the washroom, like he already finished negotiating and he got the Seiko, but he waited for us to like leave. So that was pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah, I feel the guilt. I feel obligated to hang on to the white birch now as a matter of principle. I mean that, and honestly, on strap, that thing is an awesome strap monster. Yeah, we were gonna get those tattoos. That's true. GS for life. But, yeah, well, some fair advice there. Never go for the hype. I think it's part of it. Like, I think we've all maybe fell into the trap of buying a hype watch, but to me, it's been a valuable lesson in like my watch journey because I've done it before, and it just kind of like it's hard because sometimes I feel like you personally don't connect with the watch. It's almost like for me. I mean, I did a lot for YouTube content too, but like I think it's a valuable lesson to kind of do your research first and don't just jump in. But I mean, for the white birch, I think it's also a watch you have to see in person. Like, do not buy the watch online if you can find it. I think you really should see it first, and that's what sealed the deal for me. Like, I just really liked the dial. Yeah. Dick was asking, can you go back to wearing a Seiko turtle after wearing a GS? Absolutely. I still wear, well, I don't have I mean, I do have a Marine Master 300. It's not a turtle. But I also have like an Orient Mako USA 2, which is like right on par with a turtle, I would say. And I love that watch.
Do you have the white dial of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one. I wish they didn't stop making it.
I know. No, it's great. It was hard to find. I snagged one off of eBay.
Yeah, that's a nice one. I don't know what the prices are on that now.
Yeah, they've probably gone up, eh? But I mean, it's
Yeah.
still pretty affordable. I think it's
Right.
like 300 or 400 probably for Mako USA 2. I don't know. Keith, can you speak to that? I mean, you switch between like your Grand Seiko GMT and some of your other divers too, right? Like your Laurier.
Yeah, I do switch around. I will say lately it's been hard to just wear anything but the Grand Seiko when I'm out and about. I look at, I have all my watches next to each other. I'm just like, why would I wear those when I could wear this one? So it depends. I definitely rotate them, but yeah, it's hard to not wear the Grand Seiko sometimes.
Fair enough.
Especially when seeing them next to each other, there's no comparison. But sometimes you just don't want to wear a really nice watch or a high polished watch or whatever the case may be.
I'm just looking at the comments, and I think Sanjay's gonna roll over when he goes back and watches this later. I mean, no disrespect to Sanjay. Honestly, guys, like joking aside, he didn't really coerce me into buying it. Like, I mean, I felt motivated to with him, but like that was a decision I fortunately came to myself. And
yeah, it's not like he went up to you and said like, "Hey, let's be White Birch Brothers."
Yeah.
Or,
it's not like, hey, we're both going to buy this watch at the same time. We both pull out our cards or something, and like he just like declines it like the last second.
Right. We'll remember this forever.
Yeah. But oh man, I'm the same name. Otherwise, like, that's true. Well, Kevin mentions I wear my Turtle and my GS. I can appreciate wearing both. That's a good point. I mean, I feel like aside from just like the different price tier, like I mean, they're different aesthetics too, right? And to me, like I like Seiko divers, like the Prospect divers, a lot because within like Seiko itself, they have a long-standing history and heritage with their Seiko divers too, right? Like they're very purpose-driven watches, and I feel like you can't really beat for the money. You can't beat Seiko in a lot of respects, like with their Luma Bright, like having insane Luma on their dive watches, and like the different dial variations. Like even with Grand Seiko, right? You can't get as many different dial variations, especially with Grand Seiko divers. Like a Grand Seiko diver, distinctly different design language compared to Seiko, I would say. Kevin mentions that you should go for a Zelos. Have you ever had a Zelos? I mean, I know I've gone through a lot of them, and they're pretty good value for money.
Yeah, I've came close to buying them, and I never have. And sometimes it's hard to tell if Kevin S is joking or not. So I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know if he's actually telling me to do that, but yeah. And they're about to come out with a new release. I'm not that big on, but they have like a teal color that kind of reminds me of the Oris I had. And I do look at that on eBay sometimes, wondering if I should get it, but I have yet to do so.
Yeah, I'm excited about their new release. It's not a swordfish. Is it a steelfish? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah,
of?
I think it's a new line.
Yeah, not only is it like different looking case and dial, they use a new movement now too. It's
Oh yeah,
from what's the one that Citizen owns that's used in higher end watches?
I saw.
Regardless, it's the power reserve is like over 60 hours. It's like a really nice movement, like a really well decorated movement and everything. But
yeah, I think there's a see-through case back.
Yeah.
I want to say, and there's applied indices on this one.
Yeah,
they have 6 different colors, I believe.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I like how Zealous continues to evolve. Like they're not stagnant. They keep. I mean, it's almost to a detriment too. They have so many different models now.
Oh yeah.
But they're always experimenting. Chaz is saying you should join Doxa Nation. Are you about to?
Yeah, I mean, I've been obsessed with Doxa lately, so it's very possible.
Which, like, if money wasn't an object, I know you like the Aquamarine, but would you go with like the 200, the 300? Like, what would you get?
The sub 300, not the 300T, but the sub 300. Yeah.
Okay.
The 25. It's $2,500 US dollars. It's because it's thinner and lighter than the sub 300T.
Yeah.
And I think the end links fit better on small wrists for the sub 300. And my issue with it is I think it might not be. It doesn't seem like it's worth the money, but it might be to me just because I want the watch. Like, have you ever?
It's worth what you're willing to pay for it, right?
Right. Have you ever like really liked the watch, but questioned the value for money you're getting, but still went ahead and bought one anyways?
Yeah, I did that when I got this guy.
That's a good
No,
point.
I mean more deliberately. I have done that as well. Actually, I mean, in case in point, and this is kind of kind of sad. It's bittersweet because I recently did sell my Doxa 750T, but I did pay about close to what like 2,500 Canadian to get that watch, and knowing that it was, I mean, the 750T was one of their limited ones. It was also discontinued a while ago. I think it was like early 2000s when it was made. So it was, just running a basic ETA 2824. But I really just like the design and the history around Doxa. And I really, I didn't regret buying it for that money. And I only let it go because, I mean, well, thanks to Grand Seiko and the spending spree at the end of the year. But the person who I ended up selling it to, it's a bittersweet story because I took a little bit of a loss on it, but the guy who bought it, it was for his father who's been battling cancer, and his father was a huge fan of Clive Custa. And Dirk Pitt, specifically, the 750T was in a lot of his novels, I think. And it was also in that movie that Matthew McConaughey did, Sahara, I think. That was the Doxa he wore when he was like the Dirk Pitt character. So for that reason, like, he was the person who purchased off me. He's like, that would be like really like nostalgic and kind of really cool. And I just wanted to be a part of that because I was planning on selling it anyway. So bittersweet story.
So in your opinion, the value was worth it for that watch?
Yeah, because like you, I just really wanted to get my hands on one. Right. And I tried to fill the void with a lot of like Doxa homage type watches.
Oh,
like I've had some like NTH watches that were similar. I even considered buying
well, there's a C-string.
Like an Aqua Timer or something like it's some other company that's like very similar to No Shape Doxa case, but it never really filled the void for me until I did own the Doxa. So I think it's worth it if you that's the one you want.
Right. Yeah, I think when anyone, or at least when I buy a watch, you tend to compare to other watches in that category of price. And like, I think the Aquis, also with the ETA movement, is really close. I think it's like a very similar price. And it's hard to believe the Doxa would be better quality than the Aquis, but I don't know. I've handled many Aquis. I've not handled the Doxa. But still, if I buy so few watches, if it's the one I want, then I'll spend the money on it. So
yeah.
And they seem to hold their value relatively well. I don't really understand why that is, because they're always available. You could always go on their website and buy them. I think it might be because there's not a ton in circulation. It's not as popular of a watch that, if one pops up that's the exact model and color that you want, there's not a lot of competition for pre-owned, so they tend to hold their value pretty well too.
It's true, like especially comparatively to an Aquis, right? Like an Aquis,
right?
If you were to buy it secondhand, you can get a pretty good discount. Versus,
right.
Yeah, like honestly, I paid pretty much retail for the Doxa that I got. It was a vintage one, but
yeah, is there? And part of, in the U.S., there's no Doxa ADs except for one AD who doesn't discount. So it's not like you could just walk in and get a discount from an AD. I don't know if there's any ADs in Canada for Doxa.
There is none. And if you were to buy from the US, which I would be subject to all these import fees. So you're in a better spot than me. Like in terms of getting
that really that kills it.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of these import fees is because Canada wants you to buy from Canada, right? That's the whole concept.
Essentially. And even like it's hard because like if it was reversed, like say you're a US citizen buying from Canada, the amount that you're allowed to get away with is actually more than Canadians. So like we're getting hit harder. Like I think the declared value, if it's over like $60, don't quote me on this, but I think comparatively, like if it's over $60 in the US, after that you have to pay some form of duties going into Canada. But if it was reversed, I think you can buy like $100 up to $100 item in Canada and not pay anything going into the US. So.
Yeah.
Plus our taxes are ridiculous. Like in Ontario, we have a harmonized sales tax of 13%.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, it
I will
was
say it's
great.
not a ton better in my area. It's like a 10%.
Okay.
But we're like known for being some of the highest sales taxes in the US. So I actually called the AD that Sanjay went to once to inquire about a watch.
Yeah.
And I was like completely surprised, like 13%. Ours is like the highest here and it's 10%. But yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah. That's why it's almost like the one time there's a Zinn authorized dealer in Canada, but they're in Calgary out west. But the sales tax in Calgary is like 5%. So like I was able to buy one there and get
Oh,
it
yeah.
shipped. And that was like amazing. But
So with the Doxa, if you don't mind saying, were you able to get most of your money back for that?
yeah, most of it. I think
Okay, that's good.
I lost out like on $100, I think.
Oh wow, that's yeah.
And like that's
Yeah.
just to me, that's just like renting it for however long and doing a review on it. So
Right.
plus, I feel it was a feel good story in the sense like I feel like the new owner is going to be really happy after going through a rough time. So in terms of Kevin saying go marathon if you want to go Canadian. Honestly,
That's a
marathon
good
is
call.
on my radar. I really want to pick up a GSAR, which is their government search and rescue, I think. But if you're not familiar with marathon, they use tritium tubes in a lot of their watches, and they're all military spec watches. I just want to buy one at a good price because, again, that's something like the Doxa where they're using ETA movements, but they're very durable watches. They are kind of pricey if you're paying retail. It's more than like I would want to pay for what you're getting, but you can probably get a good discount used. So I'm just waiting for the right one. But Marathon's a great brand.
Totally agree.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna go to Kevin's next comment, which is Helios was not at the New York windup, but maybe they will show up to Chicago. Who knows? Saying Keith, you're so impulsive. Yeah, you're the bad influence for all of us.
I wish I could be more impulsive with things in life in general, not just watches.
It's funny. You would think, like, yeah, for me, I'm rational about so many things in my life. It's just when it comes to watches, I'm really impulsive. I don't know.
But you seem to be good at the buying and the selling of it. I'm too lazy to do that.
Yeah.
I'm too lazy to sell.
Well,
know
that's
that
yeah.
too.
I mean, I suppose that's true. For me, like part of the game is buying it right and then being able to flip it if you need to. But you know, I just a lot of it's getting content for the YouTube channel too.
Right.
I do not hate GS right now, but I mean, I'm not a fanboy because I can critique them. Like, obviously, there's a lot of things that Grand Seiko I wish could improve on, but they don't. Let's see. Dan was saying you can easily kill 3 or 4 hours at windup. You're probably going to be there for longer, I imagine, right, Keith?
Probably. But I figure if I could go early, I don't know if this is the exact plan, but maybe if I could go early, I could hit stuff before it gets really crowded. But we'll see. I think it fills up pretty quick.
Do you know the dates for it? I'm just asking.
Yeah, I think it's July 15th through the 17th.
That's close to our birthday, Darren.
Yeah, could be dangerous.
Which is 15th through the 17th, which is nice that they're having it in the summer. Decent weather.
True. It's going to is Monta at windup?
They're definitely going to be at the Chicago one, yeah.
They got some nice pieces, not going to lie.
Yeah, Sanjay didn't
Yeah,
seem
they
too
do.
impressed by the one that you had.
Yeah. I mean, actually, to be honest, the honeymoon for the Monta I had wore off pretty quickly. But I think, I mean, it was competing against a lot of other dive watches in my collection at the time. And I also, I traded up to the Black Bay GMT with that watch as well. So.
Understandable. I've always wanted to see him in person, so now's
Yeah,
my
like in
chance.
person, the quality is definitely there. So it'd be nice if you can get hands on with one. Do you have a particular model that you're gravitating towards from Monta? Because they do
I
have
do like the Atlas.
Okay. Is that their GMT?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
That's the GMT without the rotating bezel.
Yeah.
It's the fixed bezel. And
do you think that would compete against your Grand Seiko GMT too much?
Possibly. And I'd probably stick with the Grand Seiko, but who knows? We'll see.
Neff mentioned he's going to go. That's cool. If you can meet
nice.
up. Yeah. I really miss the watch meetups. Like, that's one thing about this whole pandemic that really sucks. So we'll see. Maybe I want to organize one in Ontario at some point. But I mean,
I've never been to one.
But if that happens, I'll invite you guys too. But I don't know how you feel about like coming to Canada.
Are they gonna let me in?
Oh, they'll let you in. Have you ever been or no?
I have never been. No.
Okay. Yeah. Chaz is saying Wind Up should give you a press pass. That would be sweet, man. So if they give me a press pass and like comp some meals, like I'm all in. Yeah, get some steaks. So I'm really behind in the chat here. I gotta scroll down. Yeah, Sanjay talks pens and Keith talks pizza. I mean, pizza I think is more relatable. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some deep dish naysayers in the chat. I see, but I've always ate deep dish. I love it. It's me and my wife's favorite kind of pizza to get. But there's also a specific thin crust style to this area too, which is also really good. So.
Yeah. They're saying you're the smartest. Always see your watch in person and buy it.
That's the thing, though. If I go Doxa, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see one in person before I buy it. So.
I think with Doxa though, like you're not going to run into like some of the QC issues like you would buying a Seiko blindly, you know.
True. Hopefully not.
Yeah. I feel like, and knowing like your preferences and your wrist size, I think you could pull it off and you'd be pretty happy not seeing it in person. Yeah, that's a challenge with micro brands, I find, but that's why it's good to have these type of events, right? Like Wind Up, because you can still check them out.
Yeah, I feel like my biggest concern with the Doxa is, the dial is really small. I think it's 27 millimeters. And then I think if you measure it, it measures 42 and a half wide, but if you measure at the bezel, it's like 39, 38. So I'm a little worried it'd actually be, even though on paper it's 42 and a half, it might be a little small. But
I can tell you, but the 750T was a 45 millimeter diameter watch, but it wore like a 41. Like it wore
right. But if I know that
it's very legible though. I mean,
right.
Yeah, it's too bad you might not be able to see it in person. Chaz says, I'm only buying hype watches. I'm hyped about them all, unfortunately. Yeah, that's true. There's some suggestions that don't buy watches of Sanjay, buy them alone. That's a double-edged sword. I mean, that's actually not bad advice because I won't be as impulse to buy probably, but at the same time, Sanjay's like the encyclopedia when it comes to Grand Seiko, right? So it's like, and to be honest, when we're at his AD, it's mostly Grand Seiko or Seiko. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just like there's something about being around the smartest person in the room when it comes to a topic. Like for me,
right, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. We're kind of getting a little over the hour, so maybe we'll kind of wind things down after talking about winding things up. All right, that was really bad. Pun.
That was good.
I don't know. Do you guys have any planned for this coming week? You want to plug here or
Nope.
no? Darren, I mean, so people who don't know my brother, he's got his own YouTube channel. In the, in his caption there, ride, paddle, repeat. You got anything coming up on your YouTube you want to plug here?
Thanks, bro. Yeah. Well, if I can ever salvage that footage I did with the paddle maker for Gentleman's behind me, or we kind of do a finish up our interview on Zoom. Either way, I'm going to do like a review / kind of presentation for these custom paddles from a great maker at Halliburton Forest. And also be probably doing a quick review of the studs that I am putting in my tires, and I'm going to try them out and then obviously give you first impressions. So it's more outdoors focused, but those are two things that are coming up.
Okay, nice. And sorry guys for being so behind in the chat. Neff mentioned going back to Zelo's spearfish. It's the La Jour Purée movement, I'm pretty sure, which I just butchered the naming of.
Oh, yeah.
La Jour Purée. Okay. Yeah,
think
nice
you're right.
movement. Wow, Bobby with the super chat. Thanks very much, man. First time I've received one of those. And I'm just trying to fill in for you guys. Like you and Sanjay are, the kings of late night weekends, watch talk. I'm just filling in. Let's see. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, I'm super behind on this. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Yeah, so I apologize if I didn't get to all your guys' chats. Thanks everyone for joining. It was really good to see everyone in the chat. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. And whoever's doing Watch Soup for tomorrow, I'm going to plug that. Although, is there Watch Soup? I know there's a Super Bowl as well. So,
Bobby said no
if you're
watch
still
soup
here.
tomorrow because
Pardon?
of the Super Bowl.
Okay. So quickly, do you follow NFL? Do you got a favorite team?
Yes, I'm a Chicago Bears fan.
I figured.
Didn't even make the playoffs this year, but I do.
It's Rams and Bengals?
Yeah, Rams and Bengals.
So
I'm looking forward to it. Football's the one sport I watch, so.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll probably watch it too. I mean, to be honest, I don't follow it too much, or if I do, it's usually CFL, so Grey Cup. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining me tonight. It was great catching up. And for everyone in the chat, have a great weekend. If I don't see you, enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll be back next week. But hopefully, Sanjay will be at the wheel. So I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for joining.
Have a good night.